Good morning, everybody. Welcome along to Forever United TV. It's Sunday morning, the day after that 2-2 draw against Nottingham Forest. We're going in on Diogo Dalot and the fan meltdown on social media yesterday off the back of the Portuguese fullback's performance against Nottingham Forest. Rúben Amorim's favourite, some of the fans are saying there is a little bit of unrest in there. I defended Rúben Amorim last night. I'm going to do it again this morning with what happened in that game yesterday. But I want to get into the details of the stories going around Dalot as well, potentially moving away from Manchester United in the summer, but there was a massive onslaught onto Dalot yesterday. I want to concentrate on that this morning as well, while bringing you that transfer news also. Manchester United throwing their hats into the race with the Mark Guehi signing this summer, according to Graham Bailey. We're going to talk about that also and get loads more of your live comments on what happened yesterday. We had a technical malfunction. Again, we had a reset this morning, which is why I'm late. Sorry about that, everybody. But yeah, sorry about last night and everything that went wrong with the live streams later on. I lost all streaming capabilities last night. God knows what actually happened there, but we're back on track this morning. Welcome along, everybody. Get your thoughts into the live comment section, everyone. We're going to break this down and we're going to go into detail. We're going to go into a lot of what Rúben Amorim said after the game yesterday as well, because that is really important from what was put out and how it was portrayed in the media and with the fans in particular. And that's the angle I'm going to take on the fans as well this morning, because there is clear optimism still there with what happened with Manchester United yesterday, but the old fears creeping back in for certain moments. And I think a lot of what Rúben Amorim said was pretty much bang on the mark. I'm going to get into a lot of that this morning. I'm going to get into everything that was said after the game, and then later on when people had a chance to breathe, kind of changed up on. Quick shout out to our man in the chat there, Stu, as well. He's one of the mods who's there every single stream. He is off on his jollies to Australia in about 10 to 15 minutes time. Have a great holiday, mates. You deserve it, and hopefully you have a ball. But we will be expecting you to tune in at God knows what o'clock over in Australia to the show still. Don't let the side down, mate. But have a great time and have a few beers on me as well, buddy. Fantastic work as a mod in the chat. And yeah, have a ball, mate. Anyway, I'm sure he will be there. And I'm sure Stu was one of the people yesterday watching that game and thinking, Diogo Dalot, my God. Oh, why does Rúben persist with him? Well, I think yesterday when we had Graham on the show as well, we were looking at this and no one's really holding that place down at the moment on the left-hand side. It is weak. It is weak as anything on that left-hand side for Manchester United. And this was targeted by Nottingham Forest. Both goals came from that side, from crosses from that side. And Manchester United were found wanting. I'm just going to bring up a quote from Rúben Amorim from what was said yesterday. And, well, when you look at... Actually, I'm going to bring up a few from what Rúben said yesterday. There's quite a lot to break down in Rúben's comments. I think when you look at it, when you look at Rúben Amorim and how he's broke this down here, and this comment here that I'm going to read out now is bang on the money. It's pretty much how I said the game was yesterday. We lost our concentration for 5 minutes and we paid the price for it. Our energy level also dropped. When that happens with us, you feel it. My God, yes, you do feel it. Because that's the fear that most fans have got from taking... from that moment and taking away that 5 minute from yesterday. They were the old traits that we were all worried about. The players really tried. In the past, we would, if we had the bad moments like today, we wouldn't get back up. But today, it was different. Yesterday was different. Stu in there who's just renewed, not Stu, sorry. Sean in there who's just renewed his membership there. Thank you for that comment. Last season, we would have lost yesterday. I'm happy, says Sean. That is a lot coming from Sean, and he won't mind me saying that either. But look, this is what I did last night. Just to go through what happened last night, besides all of the streaming issues and things that went down on YouTube yesterday, I came out and left a reaction, and you know what? I went back on it. And I came back and I addressed what I was going on about. I was reactional, I was angry, and I think I got it wrong. I got it wrong because when I look back at it and I watched the highlights back again, I watched them back quite quickly actually after the game, and I don't usually do that, and I'm like, no, something didn't feel the same yesterday, and it wasn't the same. yesterday. And Rúben's right in what he says there. There was a lot of positive from that game for Manchester United. And when you look at the 18 shots that Manchester United had yesterday, we are now creating moments in games, and that's the difference. Dalot on the left hand side, everybody's going in on, and everybody quite rightly needs to go on this. And you know what? I'm not going to make this about Dalot. I don't want to kick a man while he's down or anything, but this guy will know that he's had a bad game yesterday. And being substituted off, even Rúben Amorim would have picked up on his performance yesterday, and he showed it in what he did. And that, for me, I think is exactly where Manchester United are at right now. And I think we're in a position here where we can now see what's necessary at Manchester United. We're pinpointing certain parts of our team and our game and the issues that we've got within it. And Rúben Amorim is talking that way. And look, it's like we dropped 2 points. We should have done better. That's what Rúben Amorim is saying. And we would have lost that game last season several times. He's dead. He's bang on the money. That's exactly what we did yesterday. And when it comes to it, he talks here now about Dalot. And this is probably the point that we want to talk about enough here. But make sure you do get your comments in the live chat on Diogo Dalot and what you think of him at the moment. Should Manchester United be looking for a wing-back? I mean, the options are there. Maybe Diogo deserves a chance. Look, I'm not saying Diogo has been fantastic this season, but this is what Rúben had to say on this, and this is interesting as well. Listen to what he says here. If we bring on more attackers, it doesn't necessarily mean we'll play better. This is on the substitutes. Dalot had several opportunities to make crosses, but he was on his weakest foot, hence the choice of Diogo. Nus Mazraoui is a fullback, so we tried to use the player's characteristics. There's more, but just on that first paragraph there from what Rúben said after the game yesterday, Dalot was on his weaker foot. Why is Dalot playing if he's on his weaker foot? That was your decision to make, Rúben, on playing Dalot. And I think he realised that in the game. And I think in changing Dalot, it just shows that he was aware of that. And maybe we are carrying Dalot a little bit. He is a round peg in a square hole. He's not left-footed. He always cuts back onto that right foot, like what Rúben said. There was a moment where he actually worked well for him, and he should have pulled the trigger on the edge of the box, Dalot, but he tried to slide the ball into Cunha. It was an impossible pass, but I thought he should have hit the shot in that moment. I'm not saying that Dalot was absolutely horrendous, but the goal, again, the second goal, everybody's highlighted this. I did it yesterday as well. Oh, things are falling over in the studio. Not good, not good, not good. Sorry about that, everyone. I think it's because Graham was here yesterday. He's upset the rhythm, and it's the ghost of Dalot attacking me right now in the studio. Things all just went for a Burton then. Anyway, a comical start to the weekend. Midway through the week, I've lost the plot. Never mind. Carry on talking, Adam. But Dalot on that second goal. I mean, come on, everybody. Like, you all seen it. He just wasn't alive. He was stood on his toes. The video has probably gone viral right now, the clip of that second goal. He doesn't react strongly enough in the first place. He doesn't react quickly enough. He's on his toes. The centre-back, the right-back comes in on him on the back stick. And then his attempt to actually kick the ball away, it is non-existent. And again, you cannot have that in your team. When you're looking at certain moments, when you're trying to figure out a system and trying to grind out the results and work your way back into the side, what Manchester United needed to do in that moment after Gibbs White scored was be solid, stay in shape, and we got carried away. And Rúben nailed it. 5 minutes of complete and utter chaos, and it cost us the 2 points. And then we had to work our way back in to grab the point, which we definitely deserved a minimum in that game yesterday, because I thought United still were the better side and created the better chances. He also goes on to say, we have quality on the bench, but I think if I stop the match too often, it's going to break something. I think we are building momentum in the second half. I didn't want to change the guys up front. Ahmad could have done better. Sometimes we just wait for a player who's a bit off to change the match. He managed to score. you're waiting for a player who's a bit off to change the game. Now, a lot of people picked up on the Benjamin Sesko situation yesterday and not bringing him off. He didn't have his best game yesterday. But I said it, and this is in defence of Rúben Amorim again. Dalot definitely should have been brought off. And he was at fault, I thought. He played a part in both goals. Graham made a point that in the headers and the goals for Manchester United, Dalot and Dalot were at fault also for both going with the same man. Dalot didn't stop the cross or put enough pressure on for the first goal. Neither did Matheus Cunha on that side. Players that were slightly off it. Again, like Rúben says there in his press conference. But he kept them players on because he knows the characteristics of them players. And they will work their way back in to the team. Into the game. And Cunha did. Cunha started to really influence the last 15 to 20 minutes of that game. But I thought he was off. He was being battered from pillar to post throughout the game, obviously. But I think the substitutes and what he made there, I thought, in a way, Dalot and that substitute changed the momentum of the game, because Dogu brought aggressiveness and a natural left-sided player, like he said, and it brought the balance back into Manchester United's hands. And I thought we then controlled the game. And it's not like Lamens was making save after save after save. Dalot is a problem for Manchester United. We need to address that left-hand side badly. And until we do, we're always going to have moments like this in games where we come up against sides that just take advantage of us. And in the end, yes, we were a little bit weak. If them crosses were coming in and Harry Maguire was in, we might not have conceded that goal. But we had Ahmad, we had Shaw, we had Dalot. I think very, very small players in this back line. And the crosses, if we don't stop them, we're going to be under pressure. Because as good as Dalot is, he's not the tallest. And he still wins a lot of headers. Euro is still very young and still finding his way in terms of the physicality side of things. A lot of his game is great in the air. He's okay, but he can get better. And they took advantage of that, Nottingham Forest. And they just put the crosses in. And really, they isolated our weak point. They definitely exposed it anyway, which was the left-hand side. And that, I think, is the big problem for Manchester United. We need to address the left, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do it in January just yet. Let's get some comments in on this. Dalot got no skills, bad at defending, bad at attacking, always lets the cross come in. That from Alves. The Buzz is definitely back in the away end. Great being in there yesterday. Still not sure if it was 2 points dropped or a point gained. It was 2 points dropped. I completely agree with what Rúben Amorim is saying. 2 points dropped and United should have won the game. When you go in 1-0 up and you're in control the way we were, and I say in control because, like I said, Lamens wasn't doing much. Lamens definitely not being overworked in Manchester United's goal. Crosses were coming in and we just didn't deal with certain balls in, and that was the problem. Amorim at Man United had another 2 steps backwards for the top 5 slicks finish this season. Disagree, Joseph. It wasn't 2 steps backwards. It was us staying in position, because we are level on points with the teams in the top 4, and we are 1 point away from second in the league. I'm sorry. Look, you can start trying to bring in negatives and say that we're going backwards again because of the way that we had that spell in the 5 minutes. Yes, that's not good, but the difference is exactly what Rúben Amorim was saying there, that last season we lose that game. I'm sorry, we do lose that game last season, and we lose it probably by 3-1 or something like that. And everybody's looking at us. Now, everybody's looking at Manchester United, and all I can see pundits talking about here is the United Strand guy not getting his hair cut. That's all they can talk about, because there isn't anything really to go in on Manchester United apart from a performance which we were in control of, then lost for a few minutes and had to battle our way back in. There is that soft centre still that is a problem at United, but look, the character is different. It's not the same. We've lost 3 games of the opening 10 of the season. We're in a miles better position right now. That's not too bad considering the start that we've had. And obviously this weekend we play Spurs, and I think that pretty much covers near enough the Big 6 for Manchester United. It is, isn't it? That's the Big 6 played for Man United in the first 11 games of the season. It's not too bad. If we get through Spurs and we're still up there within a few points of top 4, I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. I'm disappointed in moments in games, and the frustration for me yesterday was the fact that we gave that away. more than anything. I felt like we gifted Nottingham Forest an avenue back into that game by not being switched on. And like Rúben said, we had that 5-minute spell. A 5-minute spell which changed the momentum completely of the game. It is frustrating that it happened on the start of the second half again. Why are we not switched on from the start? Oh my days, like seriously, what is it with that second half kicking off and we're just not alive? It's something in our DNA, honestly. It really is, isn't it? Right, let's get some more comments in here. Let's see what we're saying. Ahmad always has something in his locker. What's a volley sublime? Ahmad is the exact example of what Rúben was saying there. Don't change the front line. Everyone was asking for Man United to make changes. A lot of people were saying, and I brought it up on the show yesterday on the watch along, that he's made 2 defensive substitutes when we're losing the game. To be honest, you've got to then look at that and say, right, okay, maybe he's going there in creating more chances by putting a little bit more stability in our side, by changing the wide areas of the pitch. And I think Mazraoui then supported Ahmad on that side, and I think he gave him a little bit more. And Ahmad was the example, wasn't he? He was having a poor game, and I said Ahmad should have come off the pitch. But Rúben kept him on. Why? Well, kept him on because you can get moments like that. And he gave them players the chance to fight for their place there and work their way back into the game. He actually showed some belief in his team in turning that around yesterday, and they did. They turned it around and showed that they can actually do this. They can actually fight back. And that's the first time this season that Manchester United have gone behind in a game and come back and earn a point or anything from the game. Every time United go behind in a game this season, we've lost it. We've lost the game. Check the stats. That's 11 games in all competitions this season. And when United go behind in a game, we lose. Yesterday, another point to make was that Manchester United did go behind and they fought back and should have won the game. We got the points. We didn't lose. And that is important. Now, if we back up that fighting spirit and that result yesterday with a win against Spurs, we're going to be talking about Spurs on Football Talks actually in a minute. Meltdown. I don't know if you've seen what happened after the game at Spurs, but we'll talk about that on Football Talks straight after this show. But if United can back up Forest with a win against Spurs, then everybody's saying that that's a great point for Manchester United. And United come away with 13 points from 15 in the 4 games in between the 2 international breaks. And that is more than enough to be competitive and up there. It is going to be a massive game against Spurs next Saturday lunchtime. And I think all eyes are on that now as to, are we going to back up what we did against Forest and actually show that that wasn't the same old Manchester United and we go out and get something from Spurs. It's important to remember that sometimes draws actually don't turn out to be bad results. They don't. Anybody can beat anybody. And if, for instance, let's just say, I'll quickly bring this up as an example now. If Bournemouth get anything against Manchester City today, or say, for instance, you could easily say that this is a draw, or even if Manchester City beat Bournemouth today, this is how close it is at the top of the table. If Manchester City beat Bournemouth at the Etihad today, vice versa, whatever it may be, Manchester United are still going to be within touching distance. We're a point ahead of Manchester City right now. We are 1 point behind Bournemouth. So these two teams playing. Liverpool are a point ahead of us. Tottenham, level points. Chelsea, level points. We're talking about teams here that Manchester United need to be competing against. We're still in positive goal difference. Yes, the defence needs sorting and we do need to stop the goals going in. We've got the worst defence in the top half of the table right now. But Manchester United are second in the league for goals scored this season. We scored 2 goals from set pieces yesterday. That's improved. We're getting more goals. It is a massive difference to what was happening last season. And tweaks here and there, like Dalot being the weak link on that side and having that there. Settling on a back three. Maybe Leacher will come back into this team. I mean, when you're looking at crosses, people would pick up Leacher and say that he isn't the answer because he is another one of them small centre-backs for United. Maybe it has to be Harry Maguire in them certain games. I'm sure if Harry Maguire was fit, he would have played yesterday because Rúben would have known what was coming from Nottingham Forest. So, look, sometimes you roll the dice with certain players. You could keep them on the pitch and they could do something for you. And sometimes it doesn't. I think Rúben subbing Dalot off was a big moment for us yesterday. And maybe, going forward, we might see a change. Because I think if there is one change to make in that game or for the team going forward against Spurs, it's probably putting Diogo in right now instead of Dalot, I think. I think that needs to happen. Come on, guys. We all know Dalot's weaknesses. We really are short of players on the left. Diogo is hot and cold, sorry. Amorim is forced to help him out with players playing deeper to help him out. This is the thing. This is like, so the Man United fan base has all gone in on Dalot yesterday. It was all over social media. Everyone was going in on him. Again, don't want to make this all about Dalot and make it a point about him, but I think what everybody's saying is saying that just stop this. Start playing players in their natural positions. Look, I think what we've got here is Ahmad is secure on the right-hand side. That's just not going to change. He is very, very effective for Manchester United. Yeah, you could argue the point that Ahmad was at fault for Gibbs White not winning that ball on the back stick. Not strong enough for the header and the equaliser. But you can see what he brings for us going forward. If United actually had their shooting boots on yesterday, the game is dead early doors. Ahmad should have done better. Manchester United were creating chances and we got in between the midfield and defence. We got in between the lines of Nottingham Forest in that first half, but our touch was off. We just weren't at it. And in the end, we ended up trying to dig out the result more than anything. And we did. I said yesterday it's going to take a worldie to bring Man United back into this game. And luckily, Ahmad gave us one. But I do think that tweaks here and there are necessary, and I do think that we can make them and still be strong, I feel. Super chat in from Ant says, just got to say, this is not a bad result. Daesh is no joke. A few individual errors again cost us. We look sluggish too, but it's still an improvement. It is an improvement on last season because going back into what Rúben has said throughout this and what he said, we lost our concentration for 5 minutes and we paid the price for it. Yeah, moments in the game. And that's what we're talking about. He also goes in talking about the forward line and why them changes weren't made as well. He says Joshua Zirkzee is a bit like Cunha in playing in between the lines. If you look at the match, we needed a guy in the box and Benjamin Sesko is the best for that. Sometimes a question of characteristics and players know it. That, again, was Zirkzee going to change anything? What was the point in bringing Sesko off to put Zirkzee on? Was he going to do anything different? Because there was no room outside the box and you were going to put crosses in there. Eventually, crosses did come in, and yeah, I'm with Rúben Amorim on that. I would have wanted Benjamin Sesko to actually be in the box more than any other of our forwards. So yeah, I actually look at that and think that's exactly where I would want Sesko to be in them latter stages, and I don't want anybody else in there but him in that moment, particularly when you're comparing to what's on the bench. You needed someone in there that was just going to do something different, and there's nothing that a Mainu or a Mount or a Zirkzee was going to do different to what Sesko could do yesterday. If Sesko got his head on the end of something or was in the 6-yard box and got us that winning goal, no one would be complaining about Rúben Amorim's decisions not to bring him off. I thought that was the right call from Rúben Amorim, and I back him on that one as well. Sometimes when you can't win, you mustn't lose. Today I had the feeling that we wouldn't lose, and that's a good feeling. Definitely from Rúben Amorim there on that one. It's changing, and it does feel like we are actually now in a position where it's going to be the way going forward for us. There's lots that he said yesterday that I completely get and I'm totally on board with. And he talks about big teams as well, and big teams grinding out results and not losing games, and that's what Manchester United did yesterday. So again, the overall positive away from it is massive, and I think definitely outweighs the negatives in the game. Look, I'm not saying there weren't the negatives there, but come on, I mean, seriously, it is a lot better than what it was. an awful lot better. Now, there is stories going around about Dalot as well, which I want to move on to now, and the link to Al Nassr. Obviously, Al Nassr is Cristiano Ronaldo's football team, and obviously Dalot is a massive admirer, good friends with Cristiano Ronaldo, and I'm not saying that's why they're going for him, but Al Nassr have made contact with Manchester United over Diogo Dalot. The Saudi club are only making inquiries at this stage, no negotiations or an official bid yet. They're exploring the fullback's availability as they weigh up a potential move which would possibly come in the summer. Now, I know a lot of people would probably be on top of that and say, I am definitely on board with Dalot leaving. And if we can make money on Dalot, I think it's important. Necessary calls are needed. I mean, get into the comment section on that. Selling Dalot this summer, is that a bit too drastic after the performance yesterday, or is this the way that United move forward? Let's get through a few super chats in here as well that I've missed out on. Is it just me, or did the game change when Diogo came on for Dalot? You're pretty much telling me exactly what I said there, Manny, mate. It did. Diogo added something Dalot couldn't, but Adam's right. We lack the depth at left wing back. It's an area that we do need to look at, but can we rectify it this season? You're hoping that Diogo comes in to his own and makes that position his own. Is there anybody we can bring in from the academy? At the moment, I don't think Rúben is confident on that side. The importance of that left-hand side as well is there for everybody to see. It really is. Love the FUTV shirt, Adam. Yes, everybody, that is in the house there. I forgot to put it up on the screen today as well, but it is the stories there. You can check that out anyway. The links are all there in the description and on the channel. Manny's back in with another super chat. He says, people forget Bruno hit the post and Sesko ran perfect lines to have his first touch fail him. He could have had a hat trick, just an off day, but they never stopped trying. No points, we had the better chances. Ahmad off the line. Cunha should have done better. Casemiro's deflected shot loops over the bar instead of in. Last week it went in against Brighton. Bruno hits the post. United created the better chances. All Forest did was bombard us with crosses. And then Diogo came on and we solidified that left-hand side to a point where Sean Dyche then had to make a change and go all defensive to salvage the point because he seen the momentum shift and United taking control of that game yesterday. So, again, them moments that you look at in games, they're important to break down also. Can we just comment on 8 p.m. midweek kickoffs before the end of the year? What's a joke? The only upside is that I won't be at the games. Top 2 incoming, says Sean. The joke on that there is every time Sean doesn't go to Old Trafford, United win. Every time he does go, we lose. So, yeah, good for the kickoffs for us, for the results, but not for the fans. We touched on this yesterday, Sean, actually. Sorry for swearing in the morning, but the Premier League, piss take. Absolute joke for putting them fixtures where they did. It's a farce. Honestly, it is. I cannot believe that they've given us that many 8 o'clock kickoffs. So difficult. Sesko starts every game for me. Hold up play is on fire, says Keith. I love that, Keith, because yesterday there were some moments that you could see from Sesko that he just wouldn't have got last season, either from the likes of from Højlund. It's 20 times better. The aggressiveness in that game yesterday will go under the radar as well from Nottingham Forest. How the referee... I thought Yates should have been sent off, by the way, as well. I said it in the first half. They were getting away with foul after foul after foul. Matheus Cunha was fouled 7 times blatantly as well. And they were professional fouls also. And not 1 card. Then Yates takes a dive in the second half, which he should have been yellow carded for. He should have been sent off in that game yesterday. So when Forest fans are picking up on the injustice of the ball not going out for the first goal, maybe you should look at the fact that you were lucky to keep 10 men on the pitch, because their referee yesterday was soft. It was very soft with what Forest were doing, and that allowed them to battle their way into possession and finish the half quite strongly yesterday. And that momentum then carried over into the second half, and they took advantage of it. Yes, United should have defended better, but I thought the referee was weak, and I thought he definitely should have been. I think he should have been hammering down on some of the decisions yesterday. I actually said when Douglas Luiz came off, that actually strengthened Nottingham Forest, because the ref was that weak. You had a player like Yates who could come on and then dictate and kick and just hit that skulldugger, that shithousery that he's got in his game. And he played it perfectly yesterday because he understood what the referee was and how weak he was, and that really did affect the game. And look, it's a quality as well, like knowing how to work the referee in games, and they took full advantage of that yesterday, and no one's talking about it. But that's the scenario that I seen develop yesterday, and Forest in the end just about got something out of it. Because I go back to it again, Manchester United were the better side, and will feel hard done to that we didn't get the 3 points. Mazraoui should definitely start every match. Mazraoui and Leacher and Maguire all fighting for a place in that back three. I reckon the next time the next fixture comes around, I reckon Leacher right now he's knocking on the manager's door saying I want to play against Spurs. You know there's going to be a temptation that Leacher is in that matchday squad against Spurs. I would wait until after the international break. I would like to see Mazraoui in that back three. By the way, again though, yesterday Luke Shaw, I thought, was decent yesterday. I want to make that point. I don't think I mentioned it in the actual reaction or in the watch along yesterday. So wanted to put it out that Luke Shaw was very, very good defensively again yesterday. His aggressiveness was there for everybody to see. And you know what? We probably wouldn't have conceded them goals if Harry Maguire was in there. But credit to Forest and Dyche for noticing Manchester United's weakness, and they came out and exploited it early in the second half. So that's where we're at with that. People are saying Dalot had a great season in 2022-23. It's cool, but guess what? Rashford also had a great season for us. Sell Dalot or pay him to leave, says Ant. Ooh, I simply cannot understand why Amorim keeps picking this player. Dalot is awful, simply awful. He tried to run past a few players yesterday as a wing-back, and he just hasn't got the pace or the skill to do it. I don't know why he persists with him in that position. I think at one point now he's going to have to commit to playing a natural player in that position, which is Dorgu, who is obviously left-footed as well. So, I mean, Dalot can do a job on that side and interchange and cover. Dalot is a squad player that should be coming in when we need him, not a starter for United. He just isn't good enough. I don't know. Is he keeping him on the pitch because he's got a long throw? I got no idea. Credit to Forest, played to their strength. We were outplayed through the midfield again. I disagree, Stephen. I don't think we were outplayed through the midfield. There were moments when we lost 50-50s, but I do think that we really, I've controlled the game. I mean, possession, you could see Manchester United, the shots, the chances created, we were better. They caught us a couple of times. I'm not going to have a go at the midfield. I disagree with that one. I understand what you're saying. They did find our weakness, but it was down our left-hand side again. It was down our left side again. So, yeah. But, yeah, just to reiterate and go in on what Amorim was saying, anyone who's just coming and looking at the Dalot situation, in terms of the changes and what he made, if you bring on more attackers, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be better. Dalot had several opportunities to make crosses, but he was on his weaker foot, hence the choice of Dorgu. On Dalot's situation there, you're looking at that, and what Rúben said again, we touched on that earlier on, but just to bring that back in now as we're talking about it, the weak link is Dalot on that side, because he's not a natural left-footed player. It's unbalanced, and you can get away with it to a certain degree, but in games like that, I think Thomas Frank will have seen that, and Thomas Frank is big on wide players, simple football and crossing the ball. I think Dalot comes out of the side against Spurs. I really do think that will happen now. So, again, let's see how this develops. Let's see if that change is made, because I think that is important. And like we said, if you have just joined us as well, we did bring you the news that there is interest from El Nazar. Tentative talks already held over the availability for Diogo Dalot in the summer. We'll see how this develops, because, in fact, let me just have a quick look at Dalot's contract. Now, I'm pretty certain he's on one of them contract. He's one of them players that has got a couple more years left on his deal. Let me just double check. Yep, at the end of this season, Dalot will have 2 years left on his contract. He's not on a lot of wages, Dalot. He's not costing the club a lot of money, which is why I think really Dalot should be that squad player. Like, know your place in the team. We are developing this team now and getting to a point where we're, like we said yesterday, looking at a starting 11, really nailing down our starting 11 and finding the weaker links in there. Like, we know the best front three. We know the best right wing back. We're learning the best back three. We've got the goalkeeper. It's starting to come together. The next transfer window should take Manchester United to that place where we are consistently in the top 4. That's where we're at, and that's the recruitment again on that one. Dalot, look, I don't know who would buy him. I don't know if anyone is going to come in for him. I don't know if Rúben would want to sell him, but he's just not a starter. He is a good squad player to have in your side. He is professional. His attitude is exemplary, but sometimes the player just hasn't got the quality to do what's necessary, and he hasn't as a starter. That's all I'll say on Dalot, and I think that's the best way to sum that up there, because he is really weakening this side. So I do think that we are in a position where we can address that in the summer. It's just what we do now. That's it. Quickly, Ahmad yesterday and what Rúben said on him. Ahmad has a lot of talent. He is growing up really fast. I think we have a lot of players that are young and talented, but we need to help in all details. He is improving a lot. He can play in different positions. I think he can be so much better, more consistent in every detail when he receives the ball in build-up, when he is in the final third. You could see in the first half he had some opportunities in a lot of games. He has that opportunity coming inside, and the shot is not there yet. We are working on that, so he has the potential to do better, and he's doing well as it is now. I know exactly what Rúben Amorim's alluding to there, because there was that moment in the first half where he cut in, and he just blazed the shot high, wide, and handsome. It was miles off target. It was out the stadium near enough. So, yeah. And that, I think, is what Rúben's talking about there. He is going to get better, but he is our right wing back. Sorted. Done. I think we stick with that because that gives us so much more. And we can force teams back with having Ahmad there, because they're always thinking about what he's going to do going forward. Dyche rolled the dice, basically, in the first few minutes of that second half, and it worked for him. It was a big risk because they pushed forward and they overwhelmed Manchester United in the wide area on that left-hand side. And the cross came in. That was the target, because they knew that Ahmad would be the one tucking in at the back, and he's probably one of the smallest players on the pitch. So well done, Dyche, for that. Well done, Forest. They recognised that, and that's effectively got them the point yesterday. Into other news as well, talking about the defence, actually, and interesting developments when it comes to Manchester United's hunt for potential targets this summer. We wouldn't have said a centre-back would have been one of them with the amount that we've got, unless someone is released. But of course, Mark Guéhi is a free agent. Mark Guéhi's camp are assessing their options heading into the new year. Every major club in Europe is interested, including Manchester United, who are ready to throw their hats into the ring. Free agent, captain material. Do you give money this January to get Guéhi before he becomes a free agent? Do you play on to Crystal Palace and say, we will give you 30 million quid this January, even though he is leaving in the summer on a free transfer? We will wait. We won't wait. We'll give you money now so you can go and invest that back in and save a little bit of value. Do United go and chance it? Would you go out and pay money in January for Mark Guéhi? That's the question I'm asking in the chat, because Graham Bailey has brought that up there and has made a point of bringing up the fact that Manchester United are now more interested. With Mark Guéhi in that back line, I tell you what, United have got serious options there with that. I mean, I think Guéhi would be a replacement for letting Harry Maguire go. If Guéhi comes in, I think Maguire leaves. That's honestly what I think, because no other centre-back at Man United is going to leave this summer, I don't think. Leacher, Dalot, Yoro, Mazraoui, Luke Shaw, Aiden Heaven, that's 6 centre-backs there. Harry Maguire is number 7. If you go out and get a Mark Guéhi, because it's an opportunity that you really can't turn down, And you can't keep Harry Maguire either. Harry is a weapon for United, but Mark Guehi is a absolute elite centre-back. And if there's a chance that you can get him, Fergie would have gone out and got him. I'm just going to say that now. If he knew that Mark Guehi was there and available, no matter what he had in his squad, he'd have dealt with the issue afterwards for the fact that you can get an absolute top centre-back. I think Mark Guehi is in the top 10 centre-backs in the world right now. I think he would get into any side in the Premier League and any side in top European leagues as well. I do. I think he's that good a player. I just didn't think United were ever going to be in for him. But if I knew that Manchester United had a chance of getting Mark Guehi, I'm looking at this and going, I'll pay you money in January to take Mark Guehi. Go and get him. Get in ahead of everybody. If there is money available, yes, obviously, Manchester United are taking a little bit of the pot away from what we're going to spend in the summer. But this is Mark Guehi. Go out and make it happen. And that, I think, is something really for Man United to have a think about and probably go in on and say, yeah, I could actually do that. We could actually do that and actually let Harry Maguire go. That would be a sensible thing. And look, Harry Maguire aside, I don't want to have a go at him. I'll say that he isn't good enough, but this is the future of the football club. This is the sensible football decisions that need to be made if you're looking to be an elite football club and challenge going forward. Harry Maguire's not going to be there in 3 years. Mark Guehi's going to be there for years to come and could be the Man United captain. This is a captain, full international player that everybody wants. And if you can get him, look, I don't know if we can, but if there's any opportunity there for you to go out and get Mark Guehi, go knock on that door or make that call. Keith, welcome to the Members Club, my man. Thank you very much for that. Let's get some more comments on this. Mark Guehi, people, would you get him? Stephanie says, get Guehi 100%. You go for Guehi for 30 million in January. Guehi all day long in January. 30 million is a steal. Yes, because we can convert Maz and Shaw as wing-backs, says Mane. I'm with everybody. I think everybody's on this. I would go for him 100%, says Stephen. Guehi is class, says Steve. Yes, says Joseph. Everybody's on that Mark Guehi one. If you can. Liam says, I'd pay Palace 40 to 50 million for Guehi. It's nearly impossible for a Prem club to get him for free. Would you go that far? Would you make a substantial offer in January to blow everybody else out the water and say to Crystal Palace, you can't turn this down? Sometimes you have to make a decision and say, this is necessary and this is something that needs to happen. And Guehi, and I'm only bringing it up because we've got the news from Graham Bailey that United are interested in him. I didn't think we was going for him because of our centre-back situation. But if that meant that you could then actually release Harry Maguire and bring Guehi in, I would go with that. I would definitely go with that. And that, I think, is something that Manchester United need to 100% be absolutely all over. If Guehi's available, go and get him. Lots of people saying exactly the same. All our centre-backs are not elite. Dalot has been moved from club to club after failing to meet their standards. Disagree with that completely. Euro is still raw and weak in the air. Dalot hasn't been moved from club to club because he's not good enough. Dalot is a quality centre-back and he's coming into his own. I disagree with that one there. It's not like he's been moved from pillar to post. It's just that other clubs were moving in different directions at each time. And he did have a little bit of an injury setback when he was in Italy as well. So I think you've got to look at that. Certain things happen in players' careers and sometimes they find the right club. I haven't got any issue at all with Dalot. Guehi is not only a top player but a great character. Look how he reacted when a Liverpool move fell through at the very last minute. If there is a chance, go get him. That there from Steve Charles with the best comment out of all there. The character. If you are Manchester United and you are making this big statement like Jason Wilcox and Rúben Amorim have been doing the last few days and talking about players' characteristics and what's necessary, Mark Guehi is at the top of that list. Like Steve said in the comment section there, the way that he's handled and conducted himself, like, you could have players bitching and moaning about not getting that move away. And he's just carried on. And has actually been part of beating Liverpool 3 times this season. So we love him anyway for that. But what an absolute character and leader this guy is. And to add that to Manchester United's squad, if you're looking to replace leadership quality in Harry Maguire, Mark Guéhi is the exact and perfect replacement. Now, it's if we can get him. If United finish in Europe, game on. If it looks like we're competing for Europe, game on. Go and throw. Would you go as far as throwing 40 to 50 million at a player that's going to be free in the summer? Because you know you're not going to get him if he's a free. So would you go and get him now? I think that's United's angle on this. And I think there is an opportunity there, I think, in January. But I don't think we get him if it goes to the summer. That's my opinion on that. I think there are other clubs. Bayern Munich are masters of this as well, in getting players on free transfers. And yeah, I don't think United will get him in the summer. Yeah, please keep the likes coming in on the video, everybody. Make sure that you do get your comments in as well. I can't believe the time has flown by that quickly. We are going to wrap things up there on the live show this morning, everyone. So again, thank you so much for being part of it. We are going to continue this conversation over on Football Talks now, though, because there is some interesting developments at Spurs, which could benefit Manchester United going into next weekend's game. We're doing the paper round next on Football Talks, everybody. Thank you, all the super chats. Thank you, mods. Thank you, new members and new subscribers to the channel. Keep them comments coming in. Give the video a like on the way out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And then come and join me over on Football Talks in just a moment's time. I'll see you all there, everybody.